Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. I've been making a series of videos where I make cabochons out of rocks that I purchase or find. This week, we've got a piece of picture jasper. Let's make a cabochon. So this is this week's cabochon here. We're gonna take this chunk of picture jasper and try to make a picture out of this jasper. So I was kind of looking at it earlier. And I want this side to have the picture in it. So I'm gonna do 1.25 inch shield. I'm kind of looking kind of like that right there. So I want this to be the show side, so I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to mark it on the back here and hope for the best. So right about there, I'm thinking. So I'm going to take my ultrafine Sharpie here and oh, that's not an ultrafine Sharpie. Where is my ultrafine Sharpie at? Not where it's supposed to be, obviously. So let's try this again. Get it lined up here. Thinking right about there. All right. So Mo's on picture jasper, and there's all kinds of picture jasper. This is just one kind. I'm not positive what absolutely, because when I picked this out of the bin, it said assorted picture jasper, but it didn't really give me a specific flavor. So it's probably about 6.5 to 7. I've made a couple cabochons out of this stuff, and it is pretty hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it downstairs on the trim saw. I'm going to trim all the excess off here. And then we'll take it over on the cabber and grind it down to the lines and then go from there. So let's go downstairs and start processing. All right, we're on my 5-inch high-tech trim saw. And we're going to trim this piece of picture jasper down close to the lines here. And then we'll run over on the cabber and finish it up down to the line. So let's start trimming. Okay, I think that's close enough. I always say the more you trim, the less you got to grind, but you got to be careful trimming close to the edges there. You can knock a chunk off the corner. I've done that a few times already. All right, let's head over to the cab. Okay, I'm on my Kingsley North 6-inch cabbing machine here. And we're going to start with the 80 grit, 220, and then clean up the edge with this 280 grit here. So basically what we're going to do, then to 80 grit, I'm going to grind close to the line because on the rougher grits, it'll start chipping along the edges. And you don't want that. And then once I get comfortably close to the line there, then I'm going to take it on the 220 grit and I'm going to bring it right down to the line, taking away the scratches from the 80 grit. And then I'll go to the 280 grit to take the scratches off from the 220 grit. So if you notice, my little felt pieces are starting to come apart. I got some new ones, but I cannot tell you what a pain in the butt it is to change these things. You got to take the whole machine apart. So hopefully Kingsley North has improved this process. All right, let's get started. Okay, that's all that's all the closer I'm going to get. It didn't flake too bad along the edges there, but like I said, a little piece there. But that's what you got to watch, especially with the harder rocks. They'll start chipping out, and if you want a nice clean edge there, You gotta keep an eye on that. So let's move over to 220 grit. So I just want to reiterate, anytime you have a radius, like this and this, make sure you keep moving. Because these two wheels right here, there's no cushioning on it, underneath them, and you'll grind a flat spot into it, and it's really difficult to get the flat spot out on the cushion wheels. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now we'll move on to 280 grit. See what we got going for a shine here. Oh, get it dry first. I ain't seeing much there, but we're only on the 280 grit. So I'm gonna fire up the dot pot, and we'll dot the stick on here with the lapidary wax, and then we'll make cabochon out of it. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, we're all dopped up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it on the 80 grit wheel right here. And I'm gonna start grinding on this edge, and I'm gonna grind it down to about an 1/8 inch, 2 millimeter-ish off the bottom here, and leave a little stripe of unground material, you'll see. And then once I get down there, I'm going to grind the edge left up here and work my way towards the center. So let's start grinding. Okay, so I ground here down to this line. This is the flat, called the girdle, that I'm going to leave here. Now I'm going to go up and grind on this edge here. Stay away from your girdle because you don't want to cut into that. And I'm going to go around this edge until I'll get closer to the center right here. Okay, now I've cut towards the center here, and since the rock is a little thick, this is how far I'm going to go. I'm going to start doming now, but you can see the girdle, you can see my first cut, and you can see the second cut. So conceivably you could cut this edge here and go a little closer to the center, but I'm going to start doming now. So when you start doming, usually I start on one edge and I work my way over, I flip it, start on this edge, work my way over, flip it, and try to go from the girdle to the girdle on each side, and try not to go into the girdle. And then just keep moving it, and that way your dome stays concentric. So it's starting to come along. I'm going to drop this dome just a little bit more. But yeah, I think it's looking pretty good there. Alright, I think I'm happy with that. We're going to move on to the 220 grit. Now on the harder stones, I try to stay on this 220 grit a little longer to make sure I get all the scratches out. Now stones that are opaque or have a lot of pattern, if there's little scratches near, generally you won't see them, but it's always a good habit to remove them all. Alright, I'm liking that. We're going to move on to 280 grit. All right, when I say I break in the edge, there's a sharp edge where your girdle is and where the dome comes down right here on the edge. So what I do, I used to go around like that, but I was getting flat spots. So now I just kind of take it and just roll it up like that on the edge. And it seems to be working pretty good. Now, if you get a really soft stone, you got to be careful with that, because you could actually gouge it. But I just go around generally 2 times and just kind of work it. Kind of go in like this and up, in like this and up, just like that. Just work your way around, and then you'll get a nice, nice smooth edge right here, with no flat spots or no sharp corners. Yeah. All right, gonna move on to the polishing side, so I'm gonna shut you off for a second. All right, we're over here on the polishing side. We got 600, 1200, 3000, and then the cerium oxides on the side here. So we'll start with the 600. Okay, now we're going to move on to the 1200 here. Okay, now we'll move on to the 3000. All right, I'm really curious what kind of shine we're getting here. That's 3000. So let's hit the cerium oxide and see if we can improve this just a tad. So I'm going to move you again. Okay, got our splash shield in place because this thing splashes like crazy. And at our cabochon here, let's see if we can buff it up a little bit. All right, let's see what we got here. We'll dry it off on the old pant leg. All right, there's a shine for you. Not too shabby. All right, I'm going to take this upstairs, throw it in the freezer, and then we'll talk about it. So here's the cabochon. Got a nice clean break off stick. Took a couple attempts, but I got it off, and minimal wax stuck on the back here. So let's look at this a little closer. So here is our picture stone cabochon. I thought the shine come out really good. It really does. And then this brown spot here, when I was laying it out, it was just a little tiny thing, and I thought, well, that's all it's going to be. Oh no. It goes into the stone, but I think it adds a little character, a little brown blotch. Actually, it didn't shine too bad either. So, in the comments out there, if you see a picture in this, you let me know, because then I'll put the bail on one end or the other. Or maybe I'll just sell it like this, and if the wire wrappers want to give it a shot, that's cool too. If you see it without a bail, if you ever see it on Etsy without a bail and you want it as a pendant, let me know and tell me what end you want the bail on. We'll put a bail on it for you before I send it to you. So I'll make that an option. So I don't know. Does it look good like this? Or does it look good like that? So I don't know. Here's the back. There's the front. Yeah, nice finish, nice and smooth, nice and shiny. A good looking stone here. So there it is, a picture stone cabochon. Now there's many kinds of picture stone, and I like I said before, I do not know exactly what this one is called here. It was in the bin with all the others when I purchased it, and I bought it out at that rock shed out in Keystone, South Dakota, and I'll put a link down below in the description if you're ever out there. It's really cool. Just, I mean, even if you don't buy anything, they got a store with all kinds of neat little fossils and rocks and stuff in there. So there you have it. This week's cabochon. Well, we took a piece of this and we made this to this. Made a beautiful cabochon out of this piece of rough picture rock, the way I make them. So next week, I got a piece of zebra calcite. We're gonna make a cabochon out of this, and this stuff, I thought it looked pretty cool. I bought it at a rock show a couple weeks ago. So I'd really like to thank the subscribers out there coming back and watching my content. I don't know what to say anymore. I really, really appreciate it. And then all the viewers out there and the advice I've been getting and helping out with some of the identification of the rocks, that is awesome. So if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. There's a button down below, push that, and then slide over and give me a thumbs up. That gets the analytics out there so more people can find this content. And while you're down there, if you want to ring the bell and give me a thumbs up, and then they got some kind of hyper thing some of the viewers have been talking about. I have no idea what that is. So maybe somebody can explain that to me, or I could probably look it up, you know, it's out there. So I really appreciate you watching. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.